Right, today we are with the one, the only Julian Brittano. He is a decorated OWN superstar, the Oprah Winfrey Network superstar. He is an actor who knows no bounds. He needs no recognition. The man has achieved a lot. He owns his own acting agency. He's also a performing artist. He is a philanthropist. He is a public figure who loves to be a brand ambassador for several brands that are affiliated with charities. He is all about giving back. Julian Brittano, my brother, there is no introduction that is befitting such an icon such as yourself, but at least I tried. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Sean. you always you always give the greatest introductions, I promise. And I appreciate it though. You know, it's sometimes it just feels good sometimes to be, recognized, even though I don't do things necessary for recognition. I just do things because they gotta get done. And I just always appreciate opportunities to be able to share my experiences on this journey right now. So thank you again for this opportunity.
Definitely my pleasure. Good to have you here for the interview. And my brother, there are several things that I'd like to go into in terms of asking you, some which I already have the pleasure of knowing as a friend of yours. But I think the very first question would definitely be, who is Julian Brittano? Who is he to you and who is he to the world?
Well, for me, it's simple, a lot of people know me as an actor. Some people know me as a guy out of the hospitality industry for many years. Some people just know me as an entrepreneur, as a businessman, but I'm really a hybrid. I'm a hybrid of all of them. I'm the Renaissance artist in that, everybody has within themselves to some degree. I'm a recording artist, an actor, writer, producer, both in film and music. And sometimes you're just forced to be an entrepreneur in all the spaces that you move in. And that's what I had to do on that front. And then there's the development side with my wife, Kari, and I. We have the Brittano Group. We also have a couple other companies that we like to go out and about and develop new projects and things like that. So we got a lot going on between real estate, the hotel industry, which is a great project that we have coming out. And I'm also on a few boards with some organizations as well that do goodwill, and social impact for different communities.
Well, that was a very comprehensive answer. And I think every time that I hear you explaining something, it's just phenomenal, as we've already interviewed you before. This time, doing it for the benefit of some of the people in the African region, some of the people in Zimbabwe to be particular. But I'm so glad to hear this. And every time, like I say, that you explain something, it just sinks in just that much more how humble you are, because you have achieved so many things, but you still keep yourself level-headed. That's absolutely admirable. And moving forward into the next question, right, Julian, how do you keep yourself humble when you've achieved everything that you've achieved? I'd just like to know a little bit more about that.
It really deals with my upbringing, raised by a single mother, like most people, unfortunately, and I had my brother who's still with us. He is handicapped, he has cerebral palsy. He's older than me. And just growing up in those conditions, constantly seeing patients at my brother's domicile where he lived 4 or 5 days out the week as a little boy, going into a teenager, and people that's less fortunate as far as unable to walk, unable to talk, and them actually being my friends as a child. I had to use my imagination. I had to develop a heart of empathy, sympathy for those that at least we perceive as less fortunate. Let me just correct it right there. Because actually they're being taken care of and they don't have a care in the world. So we're out here, running around trying to do these missions and initiatives and allowing stress to, be introduced to our bodies and worry and concern. They don't have any, so who's really less fortunate there? But in the grand scheme of things, growing up like that, you try not to take things for granted, and you just try to view everyone that you come across in a respectful manner, in a mutual where there's mutual reciprocity of it. So that way, you just approach every situation uniquely and give everyone the benefit of the doubt and learn people and so forth.
But I think that is definitely a good way to look at life. And you're saying that your humility comes from your upbringing, obviously having a single mother. You turned out perfectly. She should be extremely proud of herself. And I would say I always admire people who are grounded the same way that you are and who are all about giving back, because you're in such a position of influence now. And it wasn't always this way. Like, the next question is actually going to give our viewers and our listeners more of an opportunity to understand what gave you this opportunity to be on the big scene that you are right now. None other than Oprah Winfrey. She took a chance on probably what will be one of her many wonderful picks, one of her many wonderful wise choices. She chose Julian Brittano to be a co-star in her most recent hit series, which was Greenleaf, the one that she acted in. Because most of the things that are coming out on Oprah Winfrey Network, obviously because it's a big network, she's not necessarily an actor on them. But for Greenleaf, it was really important to her to be an actor on that one. And she chose you to be in several scenes where she was also part of those scenes as a bartender and everything. But just if you could tell us a bit more about what that moment meant for you and what you thought that moment has done for you ever since then.
Sure thing, absolutely. Every time I reflect on that moment, I just, it's emotional, because at that time in my life, I was transitioning, or I was pivoting and reinventing myself. Prior to that, like recently prior to that moment, I owned a club, a nightclub and restaurant in Virginia, in the U.S. And I actually ended up losing it, with some technicalities, a couple things that, you live and you learn, and you just take those lessons. But I ended up losing my whole entire investment. So my money, my resources were all the way down, and I just had to tap into that place within that was my truth and authenticity, which is to venture into the arts. And so I said, if I made a promise to myself that if I ever got a platform doing it, that I would use it to help others. You got to be mindful of your words, because your words are true indeed spells. As you spell these words out, there's spells. And then spells, people think spells, they think something negative. Spells are just spells, It's not evil or good, it's just positive and negative energy that you spew out. So my intention was very much. And literally within an hour, I ran across a posting on the internet looking for some actors to be extras, background for some other project. And so I did that. I applied, I took some pictures and got chosen to be in the back, be in the background. But that was really me wanting to get on to a professional film set so I can begin learning how the industry, how it all works. And within 2 weeks of going, traveling, sleeping in my car, making it work from different sets up and down the East Coast, I landed on the show Greenleaf as a background extra. And from there, things just began really to take off from there. As I got on the set, Miss Oprah, she comes out. I didn't know she was going to be on the show, but she was on the show. And she began, we did a specific scene a couple times in the bar. So on the show, Greenleaf, she owned a blues club, okay, called Auntie M's. And I was one of her wait staff. So I was just flipping some bar stools because that was a directive given to me and exiting off the screen. Did that a couple times. The soap returns to me and she says, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm here to help." She said, "No, you work for Auntie M." I'm like, "Okay, you're right. I do work for Auntie M." Do the scene a couple more times. She spins back in the bar stool, looks at me, and she says, "Sir, what's your name?" I says, "Julian." She said, "How long you been acting?" I told the truth. I said, 2 weeks. So she chuckled a little bit. She said, 2 weeks? Like, and you're already here on the show with me? I'm like, yeah, I guess that's where I'm supposed to be. So I maintained my truth. I didn't try to overcompensate or embellish anything at all. I just told her what it was. Like, I'm new at this, but based on intention and being able to connect, I know this is where I'm supposed to be. And so from there, it just the spiritual realm and door began to open more clearly for me in that moment. Me being a spiritually connected guy, I knew what was happening in the moment. It was still refreshing and it was still exciting, but being in nightlife, hospitality, doing A-lister events, back in New York City, I was already accustomed to being around billionaires. I was accustomed around being around A-list celebrities and things like that, as being the individual that would host the events at the different nightclubs and specialty events for the NFL, the NBA, the record companies, things like that. So it wasn't even about anything like that. It was no starstruck moment. It was just more of a regard that I held for Oprah Winfrey because I know of her background, her upbringing. So for someone like her, it did my heart well. Like, wow, this is Oprah, like someone that our, people that look like us could look to in favor. So yeah, that it was really amazing how it all came about. By the end of that first day of filming on Greenleaf, they had to make some adjustments and some recommendations that later on I was told that she made, was to have me get bumped up from an extra to actually be her co-star on the show to help run her blues club.
Wow.
So once that happened, it takes time. A lot of people that don't understand the filming industry, that you can shoot something today and it doesn't be released for a year. So some time went on from that exchange and that meeting in that beginning till when the show actually aired. And during that whole time, I maintained my posture in wanting to learn and just draw and glean from my experiences. So I continued to do more background and extra work, even though I just worked with Oprah Winfrey. Like most people would have, you took that and ran with it, especially in this day and age where people are looking for any reason to get some clout or whatever from social media and take their selfies and this and that. I didn't do that. That first season, I didn't even take a picture with Oprah Winfrey during that first season. I didn't ask for any of that. I just wanted to experience. I wanted to enjoy the moment. So I did get one for season 2, but by then things had moved a little bit differently for me. So a lot of doors have opened up for me since then. And pretty much anywhere I go, different cities, different areas, influencers and leaders, they kind of, they showed me a lot of favor and a lot of grace. They opened a lot of opportunities. And anything that I'm looking to do. But see, I also lead with, the right intentions to add value wherever I go. I truly believe in, okay, if I can add value, then let's have a conversation. And so that's what's happened, and I think that recipe is what's needed. And that's what's been giving us and bringing us successes and some measurables that I'm just grateful for.
Wow, Julian, that is quite the story there, my brother. And I'm happy that it turned out that way. And I think you said something that was really, really pertinent here. You said, I'm where I'm meant to be. I think that should have caught Oprah off guard. She was like, wow, this man, he's a man of so much wisdom, because you did not say too much. You just said, I'm where I'm meant to be. And I know for a fact, Oprah is somebody who has manifested several things into existence for herself. And she must have been able to pick up on that. And you must have had some positive synergy between the two of you. And definitely, she had to work with somebody like that. When I hear the way that you met her and the way you conducted yourself, it is no secret why you've become one of the fastest rising actors in the States, in the world. And quite soon, I believe you may be one of the greatest actors of all time, because you are just somebody who is so in tune with your purpose. You're always working hard. There's several wonderful things that obviously I know about you personally, having the friendship that we do. And you're just a phenomenal person. But hearing this story, to me, this is just wonderful. There are several things that you say there that I didn't actually know, especially that part about saying you were where you were meant to be. That is phenomenal. So, my brother, obviously, as we alluded to at the beginning of the interview, we do have a lot of viewers from the African region, the Southern African region. To be more exact, we have a lot of viewers and listeners from Zimbabwe. Obviously, this is something that is also going to be covered by the Daily News and a few other publications here in Zimbabwe and Southern Africa. So now I would be remiss if I did not ask you about a little bit of the things about this side, about Southern Africa. Probably the first thing that I would want to ask you about is the music, because I know there are a few people that I did tell you to look out for, because I was telling you, you know what, the music this side is really good. The actors and actresses this side, they are fantastic. So did any just, stand out to you as far as music? Obviously, we'll get into the acting in a second, but in terms of music, did any stand out to you at all?
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt.
Mm.
First of all, there's one thing I definitely want to say about the artists from Zimbabwe and in that region of Africa and the world is that I really have and hold a great deal of regard and respect for the culture, as far as the artistic culture, because I believe, and we know that in spirituality, that dance is very important to warfare, right? And actually manifesting and doing great things. So the music, in the music itself, is it feels festive, it feels light and fun, but and liberating. But there's a very strong message in a lot of the artists that's out there. One in particular, Kingpin, who's along, gone before his time, or maybe it was his time, and he did what he needed to do. But he was a revolutionary. You know, he was able to, I believe, transcend the music and the message, especially dealing with uh like with slavery and things like that, and just coming out of that
Exactly.
mindset and those conditions, and where it crosses borders. Like it's not one region. Everybody can relate to that. I thought that was very he's very thought provoking and very intentional with his lyrics, and at a young age, like a Tupac, you know, of
Exactly. Yeah.
sorts. And then there's some other individuals, Ja Master, you know,
Uh-huh.
uh, Ja
Uh,
Praiser, yeah, who I think they also have displayed similar traits and characteristics. Um, Enzo Isha,
yeah.
yeah. Am I saying these names right?
You are saying it correctly. You are saying it correctly. Senzo
Okay,
Esho. So
I just
you're definitely there.
yeah,
Oh,
no, I just because I just again it's the vibe. Then there's a couple of females out there too. Anita Jackson, right? Um, Amara Brown, Gemma Griffiths. Like it's a whole bunch of different artists that speak to me like their messages with, you know, regardless whether if it's family, whether if it's something going on in their city or their tribe or whatnot. Again, it just fuels I believe it fuels the soul. So I'm just speaking as a collective at this point, because sometimes some of the lyrics I can't, you know, I don't speak the language, but I feel the vibe, I feel the energy. And that's where that's what connects the world in music, is the energy and the spirit of the songs and the individuals that's delivering it. So me as a recording artist too, I get that. And I I definitely have a lot of respect. And I definitely love to collaborate with some of those individuals too. So, get out there and mix it up a little bit.
Well, that's definitely good to hear. And I think you highlighted something that I really like there, which is that even if you do not understand some of the songs, because some of them are not in English, some are in English, but even for those that you do not understand, you can still feel the message through the rhythm, through the dance, through the melodies, everything that is being done there. You can just feel it there. And I like the fact that you're somebody who has just brought that other aspect of it, because a lot of people look at music as something that you just listen to. But the truth of the matter is, people who are in the music industry, such as yourself as well, you understand that music is not only listened to, but it's also felt. Sometimes even if the words are not in your language or in a language that you understand, you can still feel what they're trying to bring across. There's always a message in the melodies, like I said, in the beat, the way that the people are even singing, whether you understand the language or not. So I'm happy you did highlight that. I think that is something that is very insightful on your part. So this would move forward to the next set of questions, which I think this is a key area, because you're a great musician and you're on the come up there. But obviously, what you're most well known for is your acting. And your opinion is worth its weight in gold, because you've worked with the who's of the acting industry. We talk about the likes of Oprah Winfrey, Lynn Whitfield. We talk about several people, Lamman, who's probably one of my favorites, Troy from Why Did I Get Married, for those who might not know. So all these great names that you have worked with, they have given you an understanding of what you would call a great actor. You know what the bar is, you know what the top echelon is. That said, what do you think about some of these great actresses and actors that we have in Zimbabwe, or we have had in Zimbabwe, such as the Tandy Newtons or the Danai Guerreras? What are your thoughts regarding some of those actresses? Maybe we'd even start off with Danai Guerrera, because she's quite well known for her roles in The Walking Dead and Wakanda and Avengers. What do you think of my good sister Danai Guerrera?
Danai she has a regalness about her. So her presence, her essence, she's able to tap in to, again, her soul and be able to transcend that and get that across through the screen. I have a lot of respect for her. I love her role in Black Panther, obviously Avengers, the whole Marvel set.
Julian, I think I can't hear you for a second there. I couldn't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you. Now I can hear you. There we go. You know what? I say Wakanda. I'm so used to saying Wakanda forever. Black Panther. Thank you for the correction. But yeah.
No, absolutely. Like I was saying, that she has a spirit, a presence on screen of a nurturer. She's a nurturing spirit. So no matter which the role, whether if it's Walking Dead, whether if it's Black Panther, or she's out there fighting and winning the war, or trying to survive the zombie attacks or whatnot, she has this covering spirit to her, and I think that more than likely comes and is rooted from being from Zimbabwe, being from, over there in Africa, which a lot of us American don't have, a lot of us are not connected like that to the motherland of Africa and, to our exact tribes and whatnot, where we can have the history and the culture to allow to come out. So we sometimes have to live vicariously through you all over there.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? To connect back to our ancestors and roots and whatnot. So I think she's awesome. And Tandy Newton is another one. I didn't even know that she was from Zimbabwe until about a year ago or so. And it was incredible because I see on a lot of different, movies such as Norbit, the show Westworld, which is an awesome show on HBO. I thought she did a phenomenal job. She's another great actor that can take any role and embody it and really bring you into that world. And again, I think that's that spiritual thing. That's that connectivity that, I pretty much ascribe to and try to get other actors and creators and whatnot to get past the surface, because that's the only way people are going to feel who you really are inside. A lot of people keep so much stuff on the surface, and that's what they present. They're representative, and it's not authentic. There may be 5% of authenticity there, because the other 95% is what they think people want to hear or see, or what they think they need to present to get likes, to get, that what they call that social media and digital currency. So, and that has its place too, at times. But I just feel like with those two actors right there, and I believe she was also in Mission Impossible, right? Tandy Newton, that was. Again, another different type of role. So she's another one that can flow in and out of different characters. And I like to see more of what, the creatives and artistry and actors out there in Zimbabwe have to offer to the world, in that region of Africa, what they have to offer to the world. And I'm looking to collaborate and work and do projects with, over there, with you all over there, just as much as I am here in America, And so that's, I got my eyes are set on some pretty good sites. So hopefully we make it all happen. I believe it.
Right, that is something that is fantastic. And, we are getting to the end of the interview, but it's just one of those where you're dropping so many dimes. I almost don't want it to end. And it's always a pleasure having a conversation with you. This is probably our second interview, but we've had multiple conversations on a personal level. I know you're just a man of so much virtue, of so much wisdom and intellect. You're just somebody who's all around wonderful. And I'm thankful that, you've taken this time to just come onto this interview today. I'm sure there are a lot of people you'll be inspiring with how you've started from a lower rank and you've gone all the way up to the top, and you're still hungry, you still have that insatiable desire to achieve more. But then at the same time, you're a humble person who sees the importance in giving back. So I truly appreciate that. Another thing, for those who do not know much about Julian, he is somebody who gives a lot to charity, and I'm sure in the future we will be partnering up with them as well and just trying to raise awareness of different charities. He helps with diabetes, with several things. So Julian, my brother, I am so appreciative of your time, and I just want to know, do you have any last words that you'd like to give to our listeners, our viewers? The stage is yours, the mic is yours, my brother.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, one thing is this: as much as all this great, obviously Hollywood entertainment industry, content and conversation that we've had, I definitely want people to know that I definitely go just as hard for, like Charles was saying, the philanthropic and nonprofit space, as far as organizations, like you said, the American Diabetes Association. Me being an individual that I deal with diabetes myself. I had a situation where I had to have a surgery on my toe because of complications from it, and learning to really look at my lifestyle, look at my diet, nutrition, things like that, and making it all work for the betterment of my body. And so I can be able to not only sustain, but to thrive beyond the diagnosis. And that's one thing I want to encourage people. Even if there's a diagnosis, you still have the ability to overcome it, utilizing your mindset and just knowing what you want to do and staying focused and disciplined through that. Also, I just as of yesterday was voted on to be a board member for an organization here called Tiny Town, which deals with putting up and establishing residence and development of communities for the unhoused or homeless women and children. So that is awesome, and I'm very excited to be a part of that. I look to bring value there to help them out with their planning and strategic moves that they're going to be making. I deal with domestic violence as far as being a man against domestic violence. I've been doing that for a number of years. I go out and speak to different universities and colleges to inspire and share my story with the students, and letting them know that it's okay to pursue your purpose while you're trying to chase a dream. You know, everybody said, chase your dream, chase your dream. And one thing I would say is the dreams are there as a beacon, just to show you the way, like a dream. Like literally, you go to sleep, you have a dream, you saw a flash. A lot of times you don't remember the whole dream, but you remember instances and moments. Those are flashes. So when you have a dream, what people like to call it, that's just to let you know what lane you need to be in, how you need to pivot your life, perhaps. But the true art is pursuing the purpose. Because when you pursue, that means you put a strategy, a plan, you have tactfulness going on in order for you to achieve and attain that purpose. Because the purpose needs to be bigger than you. It needs to be bigger than the dream. The dream is flashy, quick. The purpose lasts, and it has built legacy. So that's what I would like to say.
Well, Julian, thank you very much for all of that. You are such an insightful man. And just that demarcation or that specification of the differences between the dream and the purpose and how you can make those align, that is golden. I'm actually going to be applying more and more of that into my personal life. And I'm sure some of our viewers, as well as listeners, have truly appreciated this immeasurable, this invaluable experience of hearing from you. You're just a fantastic person. And as we end this particular interview, I'd like to encourage everybody to check out Julian on his page. You can find him. He's verified on Instagram. He is there as well on Twitter, on Facebook, doing a lot of big things. You can go check him out there as well. And another thing, a big shout out to the Daily News based in Zimbabwe. That is a big publication that has been supporting a lot with these celebrity interviews. A huge shout out to Paul Farai. He is a great senior editor as well at the Daily News, at the Financial Gazette, and all the other publications in Zimbabwe. Good shout out to them as well. Some in South Africa and Southern Africa, and Africa as a whole. Shout out to those people. Shout out to OW and the Oprah Winfrey Network as well for showcasing what is a legend in the making. That is Julian Brittano. They made a really good move there with you, my brother. You are a superstar and you're very, very humble. So thank you for being part of this interview. I appreciate you. You were looking sharp as well today, putting me to shame a bit.
No, we had to put our sports coats on, our blazers, so we can represent, Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right, cheers. Oh, and I was about to forget a super shout out to our sister, Katie Brittano, who is Julian's wonderful, lovely wife, whom he works with extensively. And she's just such a supportive partner. And she's a big reason why Julian is always in a good mood as well. She's a good reason behind why Julian is always somebody who's level-headed, because Carrie, just like Julian, is a very wise woman who is always working towards good as far as philanthropy as well, as far as Julian's career. They're just such a wonderful unit. And thank you, my brother, for having a marriage that a lot of people can look up to. That's it. And you closed in, if I'm not mistaken, was it your 4-year anniversary? It was your 4-year anniversary, correct?
That's right, on the 31st
Wonderful.
of March. Yeah, we just had it celebrated 4 years, and it's
Ah,
awesome. I'm just so happy about it. So thank you again. And also julianbrittano.com. You can check out straight website and updates and just stay in touch with what we got going on as well.
that is fantastic. Thank you, my brother. The interview was perfect. It was a good birthday present. Tomorrow, the 12th of April, actually is my birthday. So thank you for the interview.
Oh, happy
And
birthday. Happy birthday.
thank you. All right. So, Julian, we will let you go. Everybody, make sure you do check out Julian and the rest of the shows that he has been a part of. It's been an honor having you. Cheers.
Cheers to you.